Unfortunately, many of us are victims of self-sabotage. Today, I'm going to dive into why exactly that is, because expanding our awareness on these things is so crucial so we understand why this is happening and how we can prevent it moving forward. Before we dive into all of the knowledge, don't forget to grab your free mindset guide. The link is in the description. It is packed with so much free value about how to build a powerful mindset and consciously create your reality. If you want to start working on your mindset, this is the guide you need to read. Alright, back to the video. Firstly, what is self-sabotage? Self-sabotage are those thoughts, actions, and behaviors that hold us back from achieving our goals. It happens consciously or unconsciously. We create these obstacles that we put in our path that prevent us from seeing progress and success. I know it seems very illogical because wouldn't you want success? You would think so, but really, these self-sabotaging behaviors stem from deep-rooted fears and insecurities. The reason why we experience self-sabotage is because at its core, it's a coping mechanism. It's a way our brain keeps us safe from any perceived threats, dangers, or potential failures. And I know it sounds backwards, but really the brain just wants to keep you safe. That comes above everything else, even if it means sacrificing our own personal growth. So now that we know that the core element of all of this is just safety, I want to dive into the deeper psychological reasons why we actually experience self-sabotage, because it's often underlying factors that we aren't even aware of that drive our behavior. This is why it's so important to expand your awareness, because all of this stuff goes on behind the scenes. It's deep within you, these deep limiting beliefs that you've held on to since childhood, these patterns of behavior that you have carried your entire life, the ways of thinking that you have adopted from your family members or your friends. This stuff is often unconscious and we aren't aware of how it manifests in our daily behavior and holds us back in our daily lives. So the most common reason for self-sabotage is often fear of failure. Most people are so terrified that they will fail at their goals that they would rather not try. This will manifest as an extended period of learning, trying to say that, oh, I'm researching this or I'm planning, but really you're just procrastinating. Or there's just outright procrastination where you should be working on something, or you should be going to the gym, you should be eating healthy, but you were just putting off all the tasks that you need to do. Or some people, they will just straight out tell themselves, oh, this isn't for me, I can't do this. I'm not one of those lucky successful people, I'm not a healthy person, I'm not a happy person, I'm not an outgoing person. And they create this self-fulfilling prophecy where they are set up for failure from the beginning. And all of this is because they are so terrified of their egos being hurt if they tried and they failed something. Sabotaging your own attempts of trying something new, putting yourself out there and taking the risk, you're keeping yourself safe and you're creating this little space where there's no risk of you getting hurt. You can avoid all of the pain and all of the feelings of inadequacy that come with failure. People fear that if they try and fail, it will confirm their deepest insecurities, that they are a failure, they can't do anything, they're not like these other successful, happy people. So if you've been putting off starting something that you know would be good for you, perhaps you do have fear of failure. You might think that you're just lazy, or you're a procrastinator, or you like to plan, but really these might just be masked self-sabotage behaviors that stem from your fear of failure. You really have to look within to identify these things within yourself, because sometimes the true motivations for your behavior can be hidden, like I said, subconscious, so you're not even aware of it. The next is like the opposite of this. You have fear of failure, and then you have fear of success. And I know that sounds crazy, like, of course you'd want to be successful, why would you be scared of success? But really, success comes with a lot of change. A lot of change. New responsibilities, maybe a new lifestyle, new people in your life, new tasks, new expectations, new responsibilities, even a new self-concept. That is terrifying. And we know that our brains don't like change. Our brains like comfortability. Our brains like familiarity. Our brains want us to be safe, to stick to what's known. So when you really think about it, it makes a lot of sense to be scared of success. And sometimes you might not feel ready. You might know that doing these things is going to bring you lots of good change in your life, but you're not ready. You're still clinging onto your current lifestyle that you have. You're afraid that maybe your relationship dynamics will change. You're afraid that you might lose some friends in the way. All of this leads you to sabotaging your own success. Because yeah, you want to be successful, but you don't want to feel isolated. You don't want to feel guilty. You don't want to feel overwhelmed. You don't want to feel like you're in new territory and you don't know how to navigate it. All of those things can come with being successful as well. And that can be very challenging. The next reason has a lot to do with your internal landscape, your self-concept, and your beliefs. This is your low self-esteem and low self-worth. Some people just genuinely don't believe that they are worthy of success. Some people don't believe that they are worthy of happiness, that they are worthy of living the best life that they can. And this often comes from blaming yourself for things that have happened in the past, never keeping promises to yourself, comparing yourself to others, listening to that negative self-talk in your head. The list goes on and on and on. But if you have these negative beliefs about yourself that, oh, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm incapable, I'm not smart enough, it's not for me, you are always going to block your blessings. Your behavior, whether you want it to or not, is going to reflect those beliefs. They manifest in the way that you speak about yourself, the way that you interact with other people, the way that you show up to your relationships, you show up to your work, you show up to your passions. It manifests in everything. So if you don't think that you're worthy and deserving of these positive outcomes, you're not going to get it. And unfortunately, you are going to keep placing your own obstacles in your way. If this is you, I really recommend that you identify all of the beliefs that you have about yourself that are negative. Once you have all of them, make a good, long, lengthy list and think hard about it, reflect about it. Once you have that, analyze where they came from. Was it something an auntie said to you 10 years ago? Was it something that somebody commented under one of your social media posts and now you have an insecurity? Is it because of some traumatic event that happened to you? What caused these beliefs? Why do you have them? After you've written all of that down, I want you to counteract them. Ask yourself, is this true? Do I actually have evidence to back this up? Does it make sense for me to believe this? Is it helping me if I believe this? You need to really identify why this belief is harming you, so you have a good enough reason and justification as to why you should change it to a more positive belief. And the final step that you should do is reframe those beliefs to positive ones. If you have a belief like, I'm not smart enough to go after my goals, for example, if you really want to get into medical school, but your grades are not reflective of that, and you have this belief now, oh, I'm not smart enough to get into med school, I should just change my career path. I want you to switch that limiting belief into an empowering one and tell yourself, with enough effort, dedication, and consistency, I can do anything. I can learn anything. If I put my mind to it, I can do anything. If there is a will, there is a way, and I will make it happen. These are the things you need to start telling yourself. That's how you will start to work on your self-concept. If you want an entire video on that, I can make that for you. But for now, stick to those steps. The next reason is perfectionism. I don't know why people glamorize perfectionism. People say all the time, I always hear it, oh, I'm a perfectionist, like I like things done perfectly, I take my time with everything. Like, cool, that's all great, but there are a lot of negatives to being a perfectionist because it stems from this place of not being good enough. It stems from this place of trying to reach unrealistic standards and expectations, often to satisfy other people, not even yourself. So it's not exactly the flex that everybody thinks it is. How this will cause you to self-sabotage is you will set unrealistically high standards for yourself, and then when you inevitably fall short, you are going to feel way less confident, start doubting yourself, and start self-sabotaging. So you might procrastinate, you might overwork yourself, or you might abandon all of your projects altogether. Really, you just want to avoid this feeling of not being perfect. Because that's what perfectionism is all about. You want to be perfect, you want everything in your life to be perfect, everything you do to be perfect, and if you have a fear that it's not going to be that way, everything comes crumbling down. The next is the fear of unknown. This is really, really common and ties into the previous points. Like I said before, our brain clings onto comfortability, clings onto what's safe. And if you're working hard on changing your life, leveling up, learning more, meeting different people, stepping into new versions of yourself, that is a lot of unknown. You don't know how that's going to go. You don't know where you're going to end up, hopefully on a good trajectory, but still, you might have these goals and a good life plan, but ultimately you don't know where life will take you. For some people, that scares the shit out of them. For me, I don't like being held back by fear, so I try to embrace the excitement of it. But for a lot of people, that is a terrifying thought. So even if the behaviors that they are engaging in aren't helping them grow personally, it is helping them stick to what's familiar and stick to what they know. So they would choose that over the behaviors that will actually push them to grow. I think this is particularly true if you're making big life decisions as well, like choosing a career path, or maybe moving to a different city or even a different country, or welcoming new people into your life. These are very big changes. It comes with a lot of unknown, which can make us feel very, very scared. The final reason why most people self-sabotage is to have a sense of control. This often stems from a past where your life has been really unpredictable or chaotic, and now you have developed this need for control, where you want to control everything, even if you are pushing yourself in a trajectory that isn't the best for you. As long as you have that control over your circumstances and your life, you feel okay. You feel safe. That's the only little bit of safety that you know. Because if you grew up and you didn't have that safety, you didn't have that comfortability, maybe you were just a scared little child and everything was changing and you didn't know what was going to happen, you didn't know if you were going to be safe all the time, it makes total sense for you to want to control everything in your environment. And sometimes taking the steps that we need to take for our own personal growth and towards success require us to take risks and let go a little bit. For an individual with this past, that can be very, very challenging. And while they're trying to tackle that, they can face these self-sabotaging behaviors because their brain is just trying to do its job and keep them safe. Okay, that was all of the psychological reasons behind self-sabotage. And as you can see, they mostly stem from the brain's need to keep us safe and a fear. But I want to go a little bit deeper and add another layer of it. So now we're going to look at the neurological processes behind it. We can start with the role of the amygdala. The amygdala is this part of our brain that controls our fear response. So it processes our emotions and it has control over our fight or flight response. When you perceive a threat, whether it's real or imagined, the amygdala activates, which then leads to all of these self-sabotaging behaviors as a way to protect you from this potential danger. The reason why success in our lives is such a threat is because our brains are wired to have homeostasis, and change means a disruption to that homeostasis. So basically, the brain perceives any change, especially big changes, as a threat to our safety, and that's why we act in these ways. We're literally wired to act as if we are in danger when our lives change. And this remains true even if our current circumstances are not the best for us, are unsafe, unfulfilling, or uncomfortable. As you can see, this makes it very difficult for us to break free from those self-sabotaging behaviors. But there's actually one more thing. When we first started engaging in these self-sabotaging behaviors, we were making new neural pathways in our brains. Because every time you think something and you do something, a connection is formed in your brain, right? The more times that you do that, the more hardwired it gets into your brain. It is being more deeply ingrained the more you think that thought, the more you do that action. So if you are likely to procrastinate and you keep procrastinating over and over again, it's just getting more and more deeply ingrained into your mind, which means it's getting harder and harder for you to go against that. Your brain is going to be literally wired for you to procrastinate when you have a task at hand, no matter what it is, because that's the pathway that you formed in your brain. Isn't that just the cherry on top? So now that you understand the psychological and the neurological reasons why we self-sabotage, the big question is, what can we do about it? Luckily for you, it is possible to get out of this. You can change the way that your brain is. You can change those neural pathways in your brain. You can change your behavior. And you actually can change your personality, believe it or not. If you think you're just wired that way to procrastinate or to be lazy or to start projects and then drop them and start projects and drop them again, you're wrong. This is just your conditioned way of being because your brain wants you to be safe and because of these fears that you hold. And you can change that. Now that you have this expanded awareness, you can identify which of these is the driving reason for your self-sabotaging behaviors, and you can start to plan how you want to combat this, knowing that it is absolutely possible. It just takes conscious effort, self-compassion, and some time. All you have to do is become aware of your fears, understand where they came from, make plans to combat them, make small steps one at a time. Baby steps, okay? This is a journey of growth and evolution. Take it day by day, and you will get there. That concludes everything that I had to say for this video today. I hope that this can positively impact your life and facilitate some change for you. Just again, don't forget to grab that free mindset guide if you want access to so much value and knowledge. And if you want to join my weekly newsletter where I dive even deeper into self-improvement topics and concepts, feel free to do so. You can join, the link is in the description. And with all of that being said, I will see you in the next video.